Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to Hearthstone. The new expansion is almost here, so we can look at the cards for Kobolds versus Catacombs. To look at them, you go into crafting mode here, and then you click on Kobolds, and for good measure, let's just look at the uncraftable cards too. Last time we looked at the mage cards, let's now look at the paladin cards. First card we have is a 2-mana, 1 attack, 1 health minion called the Gulch Jailer. It has a death rattle to add 3 silverhand recruits to your hand. I am not 100% sure that that's worth it for 2 mana. If silverhand recruits are 1 mana for 1 attack, 1 health, that would be probably alright. But if silverhand recruits are 2 manas for 1 attack and 1 health, which they might be, that's not very good. Either way though, having a bunch of silverhand recruits in your hand doesn't make a lot of sense until you start synergizing this with something like Emperor Therusian, which reduces the cost of cards in your hand. Then it might make some sense if you wanted a turn where you could play 3 silverhand recruits for free. Particularly if you're synergizing it with other cards that give them divine shields because they have 1 health, or give them extra attack or extra charge ability or something like that. But that would be a very heavy, complicated move to get so many cards working together. Next we have a 2-mana spell called the Lesser Pearl Spellstone. Interesting, it's a Pearl Spellstone. It doesn't look like what I would call a pearl. And this is for the Paladin. This looks very much like a ancient torture device. Was it called the Pearl of Agony? Or Pear of Agony? Something? And I guess if you were going to put an ancient torture device, paladins might be the ones you give it to. Interesting. It has the ability to summon a 2/2 sprite with taunt, and then if you restore 3 health, it upgrades, and I imagine it upgrades in your hand. I think that's how all of these cards work. So far, I haven't seen any non-spell card that upgrades. Now, restoring 3 health for a paladin's not super difficult, but it's not as easy as like a priest to do. And then I imagine you'll summon a 3/3 spirit with taunt, or summon maybe 2 of them. Next we have a 2-mana spell called Potion of Heroism. Give a minion divine shield, draw a card. Not a terrible card for 2-mana spells. I can see that happen. It's not very common, however, in Paladin decks that you have a hero minion, something that is so important that you have to keep it alive. If anything, it is Paladins are much like Beast and Hunter decks, where you just trade enemies for enemies and you summon in more silverhand recruits and use them as cannon fodder. So maybe we will find later on that there is some kind of hero minion that needs to be on the field and stay alive. There is also the divine shield strategy, that if there's one card that will take all the characters with divine shield, take their divine shield away, and gain, I think, +2/+2. So +2 to his attack and +2 to his health for each divine shield taken away. I could be wrong about that. That's a very old card, but this would synergize with it. Next we have a 3-mana, 2 attack, 4 health elemental minion called Benevolent Detention. It's not Djinn, it's Jinn, is how it's pronounced in English, which is just Arabic genie. At the end of your turn, restore 3 health to your hero. Although Jinn are typically basically the equivalent of demons in Christian mythology, they're not genies from like the Disney's Aladdin genie. Next we have a 3-mana, 2 attack, 2 durability weapon called the Unidentified Maul. Gains a bonus effect in your hand. So you have no idea what the bonus effect will be until you draw the card. Interesting. Now, if there was some kind of synergy that would take your weapon and send it back to your hand, which I've never seen any card do that, so that would be an interesting new idea. You might be able to say, I don't like this bonus effect, let's stick it back in our hand and try again. Boomerang, which is a rogue only card, would do this. So if you could steal a card like this as a rogue, more likely, and then play it, you might then be able to use boomerang on that weapon and put it back on into your hand and then play it a second time. However, for a paladin to do that, it seems highly unlikely, because I don't think paladin has any steal cards, or any minions that would steal cards. Next we have a 4 mana spell called Coulter Arms. Recruit 3 minions that cost 2 or less. Maybe 1 mana too expensive, but otherwise alright. Not very special. As far as a card, just filling in gaps. A lot of these cards in this expansion feel like they're filling in gaps of things that could have existed a lot earlier and just are not really experimental and new, which is fine. We need a decent balance of new cards and cards that are just like cards we've already seen, but slightly improved upon or better thought out. Next we have a 5 mana spell called Level Up. You give your Silverhand recruits +2/+2 and taunt. I believe there's already a card that does this, so it would be possible to do like maybe 4 instances of giving Silverhand recruits +2/+2. And that would be rather crazy, and you'd have to do it on the 10th and 11th turn, but I would like to see somebody try it. Next we have a 6 mana, 5 attack, 5 health minion called Crystal Lion. It has Divine Shield and it costs 1 less for each Silverhand recruit you control. So ideally, if you had 6 Silverhand recruits by your, I imagine you'd have to do that by your 6th or 7th turn, you could play this for free. Which then kind of only means this would only be played at the same time as some other 6 or 7 mana card. So it's still probably worth having in your hand, but it is a little expensive to play it without any Divine Shield. I mean, without any Silverhand recruits on your field. Because playing 6 mana for a 5 attack, 5 health, in general, ignoring his ability, would be wasteful. Not terribly wasteful. And then our true legendaries are over here. We have a 6 mana, 4 attack, 2 durability legendary weapon called Valnanar. Death Rattle, give a minion in your hand +4/+2. When it dies, re-equip this. Not a terrible card, but a little awkward to play. You play this on the 6th turn, you do 8 damage, your weapon gets destroyed, then so that would be your 8th turn, then you would have a minion with +4/+2. And so then on your 8th turn you summon that minion, it has that slight bonus, it probably either wins the game. I would say it probably wins the game more often than not by your 8th turn, or it dies and then you just have the weapon back. What really would make this card worth playing is if you can get the cost down to play it, or you can randomly summon it. I said before, there's a already existing legendary character that gives both heroes random weapons. If this is a card that is randomly assigned, it's going to be very useful, and I imagine that's why this is here. That they are going to have some random crazy weapons in characters' collections, characters' potential pool of cards that they could have randomly given to them that nobody would probably want to have in their decks, but they're going to end up getting them anyways. Particularly if we find out that they add a legendary minion or two that also gives people random weapons. I'm not 100% sure I would want to play this in my deck, but I imagine people are going to see it and it's going to add some craziness. Finally, we have a 7 mana, 1 health, 1 attack minion called legendary minion called Linesa Sun Sorrow. Battlecry, cast each spell you cast on your minions this game on this one. This is a crazy synergy card. Like, I don't think I would want to play this, particularly when you're for a Paladin. Like, sure, you could have a very heavy Paladin deck that gave previous minions +1 health, +1 attack, plus this, plus that. But even if you did that for 6 turns straight, on your 7th turn playing this, you still wouldn't have a majorly pumped up minion. I don't think this one's worth playing at all. Yeah, I don't see the synergy there. Maybe when we get to the neutral cards it will make more sense, but yeah. So Paladin cards not fully making a lot of sense. Maybe that's because Paladin cards previously have already done well in the meta play, so they didn't need a lot of expansion. But I'm not seeing any major winners here. This card's probably fine, and this card's fine, this card's fine, this card's fine, but the rest of these I'm not too sure about. Well, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.